Me and my friends used to go to independent company in Pittsburgh whenever we were in our teens, company called PWX. We were also huge ECW fans, so this was in the mid-90s. So we go to a show, and at one point in the night, the announcer, who was a pretty animated guy at the time, was telling us what was going on for the next card. You know, buy your tickets, come back in a month or whenever the show was. And towards the end, he goes, and also in the main event is so-and-so versus Sabu. So me and my friends are going completely bonkers. Sabu was kind of an anomaly in the mid-90s, too, to a lot of wrestling fans because they didn't get to see a lot of them. You would hear a lot of stuff about him in the magazines, but unless you were going to independent shows at the time, you really didn't know much about him except for the legend that's kind of been built around him. And in 1995, he was one of the best people on the face of the earth as far as wrestling goes. It was a little bit of a different world back then. We got our tickets. We were like just totally stoked. We were talking about it constantly. Like we couldn't believe that we were going to see him wrestle in person. We were hoping we'd get the chance to meet him, like all this stuff. So we show up the night of the show, you know, we're watching match after match, you know, like we're all jazzed up. It comes to the main event, and here we go. Time for the Sabu match. First comes his opponent, comes down to the ring, you know. Next thing we notice is the music that hits isn't Sabu's. Now, that's kind of typical of an indie show. You know, they're just playing whatever music they have on hand. We realized pretty quickly that we totally misheard the ring announcer at the last show. He said Samu, as in one of the head shrinkers, one of the Samoan SWAT team, which was still cool, but we were all tremendously disappointed.
Yeah, still a great name. Samu's a huge name. On TV, a head shrinker, a legend, Samu. But what a hilarious bait and switch. That wasn't even a real bait and switch. And only the hardcores like yourself were like, oh my God, Sabu. Nobody here knows who they are. For some reason, the whole crowd is going crazy for the announcement of Sabu. That's odd. We're the only hardcore wrestling fans who read PWI and maybe have traded a tape or two of Japan and know that the Sheik's nephew, Sabu, is this hardcore, legendary, independent icon. But I guess everyone loves him like we do? No, they loved Samu, who was always a very local drive. We'll always make a local show, and we didn't get to see Sabu. It's true, Sabu was such a legend back then. He was an original independent icon. A lot of people talk about independent wrestling. I'm thrown on some lists. I'll throw Reckless Youth on those lists, but before both of me and Reckless was Sabu, going from town to town, killing himself for $20, I'm sure. And you almost saw him that night, but you didn't. You saw Samu. Still great, though. Not as good, though. Hey, thanks for watching. That call was part of a whole podcast called Wrestling Anonymous. Listen to the whole thing weekly. Wherever you listen to your podcast, go subscribe. And while you're at it, subscribe right here on YouTube to Colt Cabana's channel. Thank you.